It's that time of the year again. The summer is coming to a close and a certain fog is beginning to fill the air. That's right, my friend. Haunt season is just around the corner, and with that we have a whole new slate of houses and scare zones at Halloween Horror Nights. This year I'm taking Halloween a bit more seriously and will be covering numerous events and attractions throughout the season. And this season there is no event more hyped than HHN, primarily for the incredibly lucrative IPs they're bringing this year. Terrifier, Fallout, Five Nights at Freddy's are all incredibly popular properties that are sure to bring out the crowds. But I won't lie when I say in recent years I've been kind of disappointed with several aspects of the event, like crowd control, removing the New York set section of the park, which was one of the best parts of Horror Nights, and just an overall declining quality of mazes has really just left me with a bad taste in my mouth. And the event has been less and less worth it as years go on. I wouldn't want to go into a haunted house that's mostly black walls if I have to wait like 3 hours to be able to go on it. But today we'll be taking a look at Halloween Horror Nights 2025 and ask the question, can it and will it live up to the hype? I'm no stranger to Halloween Horror Nights at Hollywood. I've been an avid enjoyer of the event for well over 10 years now, and I've watched the event change and evolve over time. It's honestly like a sport to me every year. I'm hoping that each maze is a home run. Some are hits, some are misses, and some years have amazing lineups with back-to-back bangers, and others are a more even spread of whatever IPs Universal could license. Horror Nights houses famously have licensing issues, with properties sometimes dropping out in the last second, with the houses being completely rethemed right before they're announced. IP for Horror Nights is the event's bread and butter, and Universal really banks on bringing recognizable horror franchises to raise those ticket sales. This year it's almost like the stars aligned because we have an insanely stacked year for Halloween Horror Nights. Usually there's one really massive IP that all the budget gets put into, and the other houses are usually IPs that they have done a million times before. But this year confuses me because it really feels like a fresh and new lineup for the event. So without further rambling, let's look at each attraction at this year's event, and I'll be going through them in announcement order. The first maze we're going to be talking about is going to be the largest draw for this year's event, and it's Five Nights at Freddy's, a property that people have been begging for. Located in Soundstage 15, the location where last year's The Weekend maze was, this will be based around the movie franchise, and of course will be taking us through the pizzeria as various animatronics pop out at us. Even if you aren't a fan of the franchise, there's a lot to be excited about, and it sounds incredibly ambitious. John Murdy and the creative team are working directly with the Henson Company to bring the animatronics to life. There will be multiple animatronics throughout the maze, and one that John Murdy himself described as the most complicated animated figure they have ever done. He also promised that we would see a fully animated Freddy performing on stage like he does in the games and the movie, and quote, we will be experiencing the textures, tones, the carpet, and the pizzeria booths from the film. There's probably going to be pizza scents in the air, and they're working directly with the creator of FNAF, Scott Cawthon, to bring this house to life. There's supposed to be many Easter eggs to the game, and that's just, I guess, another reassuring thing, and I think the quality of this house is going to be top notch. John Murdy said both coasts will have relatively the same house, and I feel like this is huge for us Hollywood fans who've been begging for the Orlando level of polish. Considering the film is also a Universal property and the sequel is coming out this year, it is safe to say that they will pump a ton of money into this house and it will be exceptional. I myself am a fan of the franchise, so I'm incredibly excited, but I'm also excited for what it means for the future of Horror Nights houses. Are we going to get more houses that have the same quality as Orlando? I certainly hope so. This is for sure going to be the maze you want to run to during early entry, as I suspect it will be the longest line at the event. These soundstage mazes usually blow me away, and I'm hoping it's similar quality to the AVP house we got in 2014 and 2015. The sets, the costumes, the puppets, and everything was on point with that house, and the scale was massive. Nonetheless, this would be an insane pick if this was the only big house we were getting this year, but that's not the case. And there's a lot of other houses in this list that are honestly better. Next up is Fallout, which is the maze I'm the most excited for, but I do have my hesitations. My biggest worry is just the location, which is the old gutted ruins of the Walking Dead attraction. The space I thought was used really well in the last couple of years. The Quiet Place and Evil Dead Rise are both pretty impressive. I just felt like each maze was kind of short. They've been pretty clever with how they use the space before, so I have some faith that they'll do the property justice. Fallout New Vegas is my favorite video game of all time, and Fallout as a whole is one of my top 5 video game franchises. I love the show, which the house is going to be based on, and I hope this year is successful so we could potentially get a season 2 maze which takes place in New Vegas. There's also a lot to be excited about on a technical level with the maze. Some locations we see include Vault 31, the Ghoul's Boneyard, a feral ghoul infested super duper mart like the one we see in the show, and John Murdy said they're bringing the power armor to life with a fully animated figure. And John said that one of the ways that they'll be portraying the vast endlessness of the wasteland is a cyclorama, which is essentially a curved wall with a painting on it. They've used this in the past with the Death Valley maze, but it looked kind of goofy, so maybe this year they'll be able to make it a little bit more convincing. Each maze on both coasts will have a different creature from Fallout. The Hollywood one is getting the Yaguai, which is basically like this giant radiated freak mutant bear, and they patrol the wasteland in the Fallout series. Murdy says that the creature for the Yaguai, or at least the costume, will be one of the biggest they've ever made for the event. Nonetheless, it seems similar to Five Nights at Freddy's. They're really putting a lot of effort into this event and sparing no expense. Also, considering Amazon is probably going to be putting money into this maze, I think we're all in for something amazing. I genuinely can't believe we're getting this. It's like an all-time dream maze for me, so if we can just get a BioShock maze, then I would be in heaven. Next up is the Jason universe, which will be in the Mummy queue this year, and is described as come face to face with the silent killer Jason Voorhees, flee through his sinister shack and into the summer camp where his gruesome legend began. Jason is back and nothing can save you now. This has been described by John Murdy as similar to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Legacy of Leatherface House, where it's more of an original concept inspired by the movies, taking various scenes and kills from the franchise to inspire it. Jason will also be roaming outside of the house, kind of ushering us in, and I think this could be cool. It's fairly generic, it just seems like it's going to be basic Friday the 13th. If you guys don't know, there is a weird licensing split when it comes to Jason and Friday the 13th, and this is probably just an easy way for Universal to throw together props that they've already had, and Jason and the Friday the 13th is such an iconic franchise, so I'm not super mad about it. It's kind of like when they bring back Halloween for like the 12th time, or Texas Chainsaw. I like that if we have a roster of mazes, we have some classics, we have some real big horror icons in there, so I'm pretty happy that Jason is a part of the list. Located in the Parisian courtyard is Monstros 3, the Ghosts of Latin America. These houses have always been the creative jewel of the event, taking inspiration from Latin American legends. Monstros takes us through the Cemetery of the Lost as the Crypt Keeper Muerte guides us through a portal to become part of those legends. This year we will see Muerte's pet, which I'm hoping is some kind of skeleton dog or cat. But I have a ton of love for these houses. They're some of the creepiest when it comes to atmosphere, and they're genuinely so detailed and well done. I have faith that they will also be a highlight of this year's event. The nice thing about the location of the Walking Dead attraction and the Parisian courtyard is that towards the end of the night, the waits for all these mazes drop pretty low, so you can just kind of walk on both of them fairly quickly. Considering they're both standouts this year, this will make that even better. And next up is the house that I think will either sit second or third for the highest wait this year, and it's the Terrifier. Based on all three of the wildly popular films and located in the Curious George tent where Insidious was last year, the house promises to stay true to the over-the-top gore found in the film, and will also get guests literally soaked. In the past, they've had water squirters to simulate blood spatter, but this maze promises to take that to the next level, allowing guests to live out their horror movie final girl fantasies. The house will apparently also have a pre-show, which is incredibly cool. We got something kind of like this in the past with the Pandora's Box maze, but I'm hoping this one will be a little bit more elaborate. The creative team has been working closely as well with Damien Leone to bring the world and most importantly the kills to life. John Murdy has said that they're doing effects that they've never done before, which I'm hoping means cool and interesting kill effects within the maze. The aspect of getting wet already seems to be turning some off to the maze, but I'm one for a gimmick, and getting wet just adds a level of fun, and I don't think it's that bad of an idea. I think it's pretty fun. Orlando has 2 paths, one wet and one dry, but people in Hollywood have no choice. I wonder how they'll do this water, like if we're really actually going to be getting soaked, because people walking around and water on the ground and trying to figure out how to drain that is just sounds like a recipe for disaster to me, but I'm really interested to see how they do it and they pull it off. Next to Terrifier, in the same area it was in 2022, Scarecrow returns to the event with original music by Slash. The description for Scarecrow reads, "At an abandoned Depression-era farm, vengeance takes root. The Scarecrows are avenging the ravaged land in this all-new haunted house. The only harvest that will be reaped is your Scream Squad." The term Scream Squad is something that Universal uses to describe your group of friends you go to horror nights with, but it's never really just sat right with me, but I do love how campy it is, so I'm going to go with it regardless. My guess is that this will be very similar to 2022's house, that one being a guest favorite at that year's event. The only changes could be just the Slash score, but again, I could be wrong. This year's roster is just so good, I couldn't be more excited, but there's more. The next one is something that I'm not super excited about, and it is WWE Presents The Horrors of Why It Sticks, which all love to WWE fans. I just have no clue what this maze is about, but I'll read the description. You're about to go head to head with the fiendish Wyatt Sticks at Halloween Horror Nights. Enter an eerie arena where you'll go through an ominous lantern-lit doorway into the maniacal minds of Uncle Howdy, Rambling Rabbit, Mercy the Buzzard, Abby the Witch, and Huckus the Pig. Beware, you're about to meet your match. This is a wrestling team, I guess, made by the wrestler Bray Wyatt. Again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it seems like we're going to be going through the rooms that represent the inner workings of each of these characters' minds. And I'm going into this one with an open mind. John Murdy apparently had to rely on Orlando's creative director Mike Aiello to help fill him in on WWE. This is gonna be an interesting one, but it will be also located in the Jurassic World queue, which is a location they haven't used since 2017, so I'm excited to have this classic location back at the event. Next up is a returning house, but a personal favorite of mine, Poltergeist, which will also be in the Curious George parking lot area. This will be, of course, based off the classic film of the same name, and you'll have it's just such like a fun pick for them to have at this year's event. The atmosphere of the 2018 house was just so good, so I'm excited to see how they enhance on it with 7 years of time passing before the last one. That's the lineup for mazes or houses this year, which I think is pretty solid if you ask me. They have multiple heavy hitters, all evenly distributed throughout the park, which hopefully helps with the crowds. These mazes are going to bring a ton of people to the event, and I'm not even going to bother to try to do GA this year. I'm going in October, so I will for sure utilize that front of the line pass. Hype is at an all-time high, and for good reason, and it really seems like they've listened to the criticism of the last couple of years. People come to the event every year, and how much money the event makes, I feel like they can really afford to cover every maze in detail, or at least just shorten the maze or cut the roster down a bit. I'd rather have, 5 really strong mazes rather than the multiple we have now. Last year just kind of felt like a little bit of a letdown in my opinion, but it seems like this year will be a much needed course correction. I love the event, and I don't want to seem negative, but considering how incredible Orlando's event is, I'm just hoping Hollywood gets the same love. Like, I'm sure all of the creative directors and the team of Horror Nights would really love if Universal gave them more money to make the event. That's all I'm saying. The Terror Tram for this year is Enter the Blumhouse, which is the same as last year, featuring many of the studio's horror properties, including Megan, The Black Phone, The Purge, Freaky, Happy Death Day, and many more. I'm not the biggest fan of Blumhouse, and the Terror Tram is hit or miss for me, but I do love getting to walk through the back lot, and that is more exciting for me than the loose theming they throw around it. But I still have a great time every year, and I love doing that hike. The Terror Tram really is a staple of Halloween Horror Nights, and of course, we all love the Log Bunny. We got a little assortment of scare zones this year, with the first being the Carnival of Carnage, which is an evil carnival with killer clowns. The team always has lots of fun with the costumes in the scare zones, and I feel like loose themes that are kind of vague serve nicely to kind of just let them go wild with whatever outfits the actors are wearing. This will be in the New York Street section of the park, so it'll also be a scare zone that gets a scaremony. On the French Street, we have Noche de Brujas, which will be a scare zone that you walk through after Monstros, which is themed around evil Latin American witches. By the front gates of the park this year, we'll have the Chainsaw Clowns, which will be roaming and kind of scaring guests, which will be kind of a prelude to the Carnival of Carnage down in New York Street. And in the little hub area by the Wizarding World, we got the Murder of Crows again. These crows were so cute and goofy last year, and I absolutely love them. They're essentially giant bird people on stilts, but they have this kind of disarming nature about them. Scare zones at Halloween Horror Nights are super controlled now, and nowadays are really only on the upper lot. It feels like more than ever that there's plenty of places at Halloween Horror Nights that you could be safe and not get scared. My only hope is that one day we can have Horror Nights back on the New York sets again. I get it takes up valuable space, but there's something so special about the fog, the strobe lights, all hitting those massive facades, and then just getting to sit and eat a hot dog or something on them. It's just so cool and really fun. Also, it would give people back the Toxic Tunnel, which is just another great way to get more scares at the event. Art the Clown will apparently be roaming around as well this year, and it kind of makes me think that maybe Art the Clown should be Hollywood's version of Jack the Clown, the icon at HHN Orlando. I think Hollywood having yearly themes and hosts similar to Orlando would be really special, and a little story or something would give something for super fans like us to look forward to every year. When it comes to dining options, there will be 2 themed options this year, as Slash themed bar will be located at the Jurassic Cove location where the Weekend bar was last year. The Slash bar will have spooky rock and roll themed drinks and dining options including tacos and some dessert that's shaped like Slash's hat. I'm not a big themed food person, so don't expect me to go into detail. The next will be Jason Universe Barbecue, which will be located in the same location as the Texas Chainsaw Barbecue, where that was last year, kind of next to Panda Express. And my guess is this will feature kind of similar options as last year as well, but themed around Jason, of course. Overall, it really does seem like Universal is not pulling punches when it comes to this year's event, and I'm incredibly excited to see what they pull off. Comment below what mazes you're excited for at HHN this year. How long have you guys been going to the event? What's your favorite maze? I don't know, let's just talk about Horror Nights in the comments. Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We're going to be starting to make a bunch of videos about haunt events now going forward. Next week, I'm expecting to be dropping this video kind of talking about the history and origins of Knott's Scary Farm, and then the week after that, we'll be doing the history and origins of Halloween Horror Nights. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace. Bye-bye.